Welcome to Superpower Reviews. My name is Liam Smith. Today we're going to be reviewing the Marvel Bishoujo Kotobukiya Lady Deadpool Statue. Coming right up. Okay, so for this particular Lady Deadpool statue, I don't have the original box with me at the moment, so we're just going to do a full review. I'll show you what came inside the box. So I do have a few images of the box found just through a Google search, so we'll go ahead and take a look at that, give you an idea of what the packaging looks like. Now, when you first pull the Lady Deadpool statue out of the box, she does have the unmasked version of the head sculpt attached, and there are two different versions. I'll show you that in just a moment. So before going over the details of the statue, I'm going to go ahead and cover the accessories that come with it. First accessory would be the masked version of the head sculpt. That is a very detailed, very well shaded, and very well sculpted version of Lady Deadpool. Now you will see on the back of the head sculpt there is a hole where the ponytail is mounted. They did a really great job on the hair for the ponytail. There's a lot of intricacy to the sculpt on that. It winds around quite a bit, a lot of texture, and we'll look at that a little bit closer once it is on the figure. Next accessory is the actual mask. If she's using the unmasked head sculpt, then she would hold this mask in her left hand, which again I will show you once it is mounted on the statue. And the final accessory is this very small but very detailed grenade that she holds in her right hand, which we will attach in just a moment. Okay, so as I mentioned before, out of the box she does come with the unmasked version of the head sculpt, with the left hand showing the thumb pointing towards her face. Now let me show you the different options to switch this out to the masked version. Okay, so looking closer at the unmasked head sculpt, we'll go ahead and pull that off of the statue. It is a fairly snug fit. You want to be careful around the katanas on the back and the hair sculpt when you're pulling that off. And it does have the standard shaped peg that goes into the hole. That way it only fits a certain direction based on the shape of the peg. Once you remove that, same situation for the masked version. You just turn it until it fits and push it down. Now for attaching the small grenade, there is a tiny hole in the palm of the right hand. That is where this small peg from the grenade fits into. I'll show you how that goes in there. Okay, so the small peg on the bottom of the grenade just simply pushes into the hole on the hand. Just like that. Now, like I mentioned earlier, there is a hole on the back of the head sculpt. That is where the peg for the ponytail fits. That just simply presses into there. You want to make sure you're very careful with this while you're pressing it in, because it is a snug fit. You don't want to break the actual hair off the ponytail. Okay, now you can see how the ponytail looks once it's attached to the head. It has a really great flowing look to it. It looks like it's blowing in the wind. Very cool. Now, of course, when you're using the masked version, you're going to have the hand on the left side that has the thumb pointed towards her face. But if you're using the unmasked version, there is the hand with the option for holding the mask within the hand. I'll show you that in just a second. Okay, so I've got the masked head sculpt removed. When you remove this hand, it just simply pulls out like the other one. The only difference with this is there is a bracer that also has to come off the hand. That is what covers up the joint on the hand. So you'll pull that off the peg. That is the silver bracer that goes right along the cuff of the sleeve. Then you will take that and attach it back onto the unmasked hand, right up to the wrist. Then attach that hand carefully back to the arm. Then the unmasked head sculpt, which as you saw earlier is turned to the side, makes more sense now that she's holding the mask next to her face. Okay, so before I switch back to the masked head sculpt, I'm going to go ahead and go over the details on this one. You can see they did a really great job here on the hair. It has a nice matte finish to it and a really great sculpt around the waves of the different locks of hair. Now coming down to the face sculpt, this is Kotobukiya, so there's no mistaking the fact that this is always going to be done really well. They always give that slightly translucent look to the skin, which gives it a really nice look to it, but it still has a matte finish, so it's not too shiny. A really great job on the shading, very subtle pink tones through the skin to give it a realistic look. Looking at the eyes, that is also really impressive with the detail in there, because this is a 1/7 scale statue, so it is fairly small on the face sculpt, but they did get really nice details into the eyes, the nose, the mouth, etc. throughout the face. It is absolutely flawless on the paintwork. They also did a nice job on the mask that she's holding there. It really does look like it's just taken off of her head and flattened out. If you look through at the back of that, you can even see where the neck piece is, the wrinkles in what is supposed to be the leather type fabric. Really great job on the details on that. Now we'll go ahead and take a look at the grenade that she has in her right hand again. Very great details on this. They got the silver pin there, the Deadpool logo on the front, all of it very fine, small details, but they still did it really nicely and very clearly. Okay, so I put the masked version back on, changed the hand back over to the thumb point to the face. So let's go ahead and take a look at the details of the statue. Now the first thing I want to point out is the two main things. The sculpt and the paint on this are absolutely amazing. The sculpt itself, if you look around the costume, lots of details on it. It's not just wrinkles sculpted in there, it's actual stretching of the fabric that they got in certain areas. Anywhere that you would see stretching or wrinkles, they really did that very realistically, as well as the shadowing that they did and the shading within the recessed areas on the costume. I also really love that they did a matte finish on this. The black and the red are both in a matte finish. It gives it a really nice slight sheen to it without going too far with the shine to make it look cheap. Now I like the way they did paint these bracers and the arm braces, the upper arm braces, in a metallic, kind of a charcoal silver color. They did a really great job on that. Kind of contrast the matte finish with a little bit of gloss, but not too glossy. It's a metallic kind of satin finish on it. Now moving down to some of the details around the top of the chest, you have the straps that are holding her katana holster. Very fine detail on that. It does look like a brown leather, but they put the details into the metal buckles as well on the straps. Now moving on down to the midsection of the statue, they did a really great job on the line work on this with the painting and the sculpting. Also some really great shading, like I mentioned earlier, all throughout the red. Absolutely nailed it with the shading without making it look fake or overdone. It looks very natural. Now coming down to the waist, this is actually really impressive. I love how they did the utility belt on this, the leather pouches with the worn edges, giving a nice aged look to it. The belt buckle itself is really impressive as well because it looks metal. It doesn't look like it's made out of PVC. The paintwork very much looks like real metal. Has what looks like metal hinges on the belt buckle, as well as of course the Deadpool logo. Now moving on down to the legs of the statue, same thing, great shading, great wrinkles on the sculpt work, looks very natural. If you come on down to the ankle area, again the matching metallic metal bracers around the ankles. Now coming around to the back of the statue, we'll start with the katanas. The handles on the katanas are done really well. It does have a very authentic leather look, but also has these gold highlights at the top and on the hilt and around the wrap itself that give it a nice detailed highlight. Now moving down to the middle of the katanas, you can see they went a little bit old school on that. Instead of having a leather holster type sheath for the katanas, they went with the wrap that is tied to the straps that go around her shoulder. Now moving down to the back side of the statue, once again, if you look at the back, there's lots of wrinkles in the fabric that follow the natural movement. Again, a very muscular, very natural pose that they have on the form of the body here. It was done really well. Okay, so moving on down to the base. It is a fairly simple base, just a round plastic base that she is permanently attached to. It does come that way out of the box. If you look at the bottom, the foot is attached by a screw, and then a peg on the other side is not meant to be removed because she definitely would not stand without this. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at the size of the statue. From the bottom of the base to the top of the ponytail, we're looking at 10 inches total. Like I said, it is a 1/7 scale statue, so it is slightly bigger than the 1/10 that you see some of their other statues in, and of course, slightly smaller than the standard 1/6 scale. I'm definitely really impressed with this statue. I mean, it is Kotobukiya, so it's they're known for their quality. Everybody who knows Kotobukiya knows that they really focus on their paintwork and their sculpting and the fine details. This is just more evidence of that. Okay, so as always, what I'll do now is give you some close-ups of the statue. We'll scan around, take a good look, 360 all the way around, to give you an idea of just how awesome this Lady Deadpool Kotobukiya statue is. Okay, and that's going to wrap up this review of the Kotobukiya Bishojo Lady Deadpool statue. Go ahead and leave a comment below, let me know what you thought about this statue, and don't forget to subscribe because we have a new video coming out every week. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, we'll see you on the next video.